of year is one of our favorites at Anderson Seed and Garden. It's when the amaryllis bulbs come in, and it's kind of a tradition here that we have the biggest bulbs you can find that produce the most flowers and also the most colors as well too. So we've got about 25 different colors of amaryllis and a lot of different sizes, and the size of the bulb is directly related to the size of the flowers and how many flowers they produce. So the larger the amaryllis bulb you can get, the more flowers you're going to get and the longer they're going to last. You're going to have them blooming for a lot longer period of time. So some of our really large jumbo bulbs, if I can grab one here, they are just massive. So I mean, that's a big amaryllis bulb. When you get bulbs that are that big, this is one of our jumbo size bulbs, they produce usually 3 to 4 flower stems with anywhere between 4 and 6 flowers per stem, and sometimes you can even get 8 flowers per stem. So one of these jumbo bulbs can produce 15 to 20 flowers for you, and they'll probably bloom for about 6 weeks. It's not unusual for them to bloom for 6 weeks. So we've got a lot of bulbs in this extra large size, but we also have a lot of bulbs in our regular size as well too. And our regular size bulbs are equally, well, not equally, but they're very big as well too. So these are some of the biggest bulbs you can get. This is a 34 centimeter size bulb, and this one will produce at least 2 flower stems and sometimes 3, with again 4 to 6 flowers on each stem. So somewhere between 12 and 16, 18 flowers per bulb on our standard size bulbs, and the flowers are just massive. So most of the flowers will be at least that big and sometimes even bigger. When you think you've got a flower stem with 4 or 6 flowers that big on there, it's just an amazing sight to see. So a lot of different colors, some great Christmas colors as well too. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you how to pot one up. So you can pot one up yourself, or you can come in and get them potted up. We've got them potted already. So let's go over and we'll do a little potting. Now it's really important when you're planting an amaryllis, and I grabbed a Nagano right here, very pretty color. We're going to plant that one up. It's important that you start with a good potting mix, and so for us, our favorite potting mix is the Fertilome Ultimate Potting Mix. And that's what we use to pot up our amaryllis bulbs. The Ultimate Potting Mix is just a high quality premium potting soil that's just as nice a soil as you'll find. It's real high in peat moss, a little vermiculite, a little perlite, and it's got some humate in there as well too. So one of the best potting soils around. So what I've done is I've put a little bit of soil down the bottom here. I usually like to put a little paper towel or something in the bottom of my pot so the soil doesn't fall out. So I've got a little paper towel down the bottom. I need to add just a little bit more soil to it before we backfill. So I'm going to add just a little bit more soil there. Let's see, that looks a little bit better. We don't want the bulb to be covered up too much. It's really best if you have about half the bulb covered, and generally when there's roots coming on the bottom of the bulb like this, we don't want to press it and kind of grind it down into the bottom. We just want to make a little small depression that we're going to put our bulb into, and we'll just set the bulb down in there and try and position it kind of right in the middle of the pot. But then we should have about half that bulb sticking out. So I kind of push the soil down in around it, so it pushed the soil in around those roots instead of kind of compressing the roots down in there. We just want it to fill in kind of on its own. And then we'll just kind of put a little bit of soil in around the sides here. But like I said, the key is we want about half the bulb sticking up above the soil. And so as I press the soil in around the bulb, and as we water, we might have to add a little bit more soil to it, but I can press that soil in around the bulb, and that's about perfect right there. We're going to add just a little bit more soil. There we go. And so we've got about half the bulb sticking up, and we've got the soil in there. You don't want to water them too much when they first get started, so probably water it really thoroughly and get that soil moist. But then not only water maybe every 10 days or so, and until you get a flower bud that's sticking up out of the soil about that far. Then we're going to water about every 5 to 6 days. We're going to give it more water. But if you give it too much water to begin with, that's going to be too moist, and it's going to have a hard time developing a root system. So we don't want to put too much water in there. At this point, we'll put just a little bit of Osmocote, a little bit of slow release fertilizer in there with it, and that'll kind of feed it for the next 3 or 4 months. And as it really starts to bloom, I like to water it with a little bit of blooming and rooting from Fertilome. It really helps encourage more blossoms and get some strength back into the bulb. So very easy to pot up. We use a 7.5 inch pot. Use the best potting soil you can get, a little bit of fertilizer, and make sure about half the bulb is sticking up out of the soil, and that's the perfect way to plant your amaryllis bulbs.